Hello and welcome to the programme.
Hello, good evening. Coming up tonight, pioneering chemotherapy treatment for cancer patients is rolled out at Leeds Children's Hospital.
Fears that youngsters are missing out on work experience as fewer teenagers take up weekend work.
The world champion of Yorkshire pudding making comes in for a chat to share his tips and tricks.
And after a white start for some this morning, we revert to grey this weekend. New month, same weather. I'll be searching for any glimmers of brightness in the weekend forecast.
Hello there. A new way of treating young cancer patients in their own home is being rolled out at Leeds Children's Hospital. The so-called ambulatory chemotherapy is delivered through a backpack, which means patients don't have to endure lengthy overnight stays on noisy wards.
Evie Dunn, who's 15, is one of the first teenagers to try out the treatment, and she says it's making a huge difference in helping her to cope. I went to see how she's been getting on.
When Evie was diagnosed with a soft tissue sarcoma in her leg back in September, she was told chemotherapy would be needed to treat her. After several operations, she began her first round of treatment at Leeds Children's Hospital. Having to stay in for 4 days and 4 nights took its toll.
When I was an inpatient in the ward, I felt like with the hospital smells and all the beeping and stuff, it made me feel a lot more sick. I just don't really like being in hospital. And when I first did the first round, it was pretty tough.
Further rounds have followed, but fortunately Evie's now free to sleep in her own bed, while the new ambulatory chemo is administered automatically via a backpack, which she can take home and bring back to be topped up the next day.
I think when I did the first ambulatory round, it went very well, and it felt a lot more comfortable being at home, being with my family and all that. You have to sit it upright, otherwise it won't infuse. But when I'm sleeping, I put it on, like rest it against my pillows. But if you want to sit down or something, you have to sit it upright next to you.
Mum Catherine says life has improved for the whole family since Evie was given the freedom to be treated at home.
It's amazing. When you're in the hospital, you're very much in their hands and letting them sort of get on with it. And as a mum, you want to look after, you want to protect, you want to be able to do those sort of things to look after your child and make sure they get well. So I do feel like I'm being a bit more useful.
And she's not the only one.
What is the best thing about having her at home?
We can spend time with her and I can help her.
How do you help her?
When she wants something, I'll give it to her.
Evie's one of a handful of young patients benefiting from this mobile treatment, and the hospital hopes to offer it to more children in the future.
It is available for adults and for older teenagers across the UK, but it's more complicated for children and young teenagers because their bodies are different sizes, they work differently, and they need a lot more variable sort of care and ways of thinking.
Evie's had good news about the successful removal of the tumour on her leg. Her ambulatory chemo will continue as it becomes a better way of trying to beat cancer.
A murder trial has been shown frame-by-frame CCTV footage of a car crossing onto the wrong side of the road before mounting the pavement, hitting a 16-year-old boy. Abdullah Yasser Abdullah Taleb was thrown into the air when he was hit on Staniforth Road in Darnall in Sheffield last June. The driver, 21-year-old Zulkarnain Ahmed from Darnall, says he didn't mean to harm anyone but had intended to sideswipe e-bike rider Larome Divers instead, following a row over e-bikes. Zulkarnain denies murder but has admitted manslaughter, and the trial continues.
2 serving army officers will face a court-martial over their handling of a sexual assault of a teenage soldier who later took her own life. 19-year-old Jaislek Beck, who grew up in Bradford, was found dead in her barracks in Wiltshire in 2021. An inquest found the assault and the Army's failure to take appropriate action contributed to her death. ITV News has been told that they are Major James Hook and Colonel Samantha Shepherd. They're charged with offences relating to conduct prejudicial to good order and service discipline and are due to appear at court-martial in Catterick in March.
An experienced 70-year-old scuba diver drowned on holiday in the Maldives just days before her husband had alcohol-induced organ failure, an inquest has heard. Elaine Richmond from Chesterfield died after she was pulled away by a strong current in the sea last year. Her husband Malcolm, a retired miner, died on Christmas Eve in hospital after his health deteriorated at the airport. A full inquest will take place at a later date.
A man has been charged with arson after setting a room on fire in a Doncaster hotel.
Alfa Romeo, we're going to need fire urgently. There's a huge fire inside.
Officers were called to the Holiday Inn Express in the Balby area of the city after a room was filled with smoke. Hotel guests and staff were evacuated to safety before the fire crews put out the blaze. 32-year-old Bradley Bennett will appear in court next month.
West Yorkshire Police is holding a gun amnesty to allow people to safely dispose of a specific blank-firing weapon. The force is targeting 5 models of Italian-made side or top venting firearms. The National Crime Agency says they're easily convertible, which makes them illegal. The scheme will last until the end of February. Anyone who owns one after this could be prosecuted and face up to 10 years in prison.
Bruni is the manufacturer that we're targeting with this amnesty. So 5 specific models of Bruni top venting blank firing firearms have now been deemed illegal as per the Firearms Act. So during the amnesty period, we're asking for members of the public to come and hand those weapons in without risk of prosecution during that time period. After the amnesty period, possession of one of these weapons will render a person liable to prosecution and up to 10 years imprisonment.
Queen Camilla was one of many to attend a memorial service to celebrate the life of Dame Jilly Cooper, who died last October at the age of 88. The British best-known seller was known for, well, her cheeky humour and her naughty storylines, inspired at times by her upbringing in Ilkley. A lunchtime service at Southwark Cathedral was attended by dozens of well-known faces. Alan Titchmarsh, also from Ilkley, was one of them. He read out a prayer at the service commemorating her love for gardens and nature.
Sadness, but wonderful that there's a celebration for her. She was so encouraging to me. She's been a friend for, 40 years, I think now. And when I started, she encouraged me to write fiction. And she said, when you do, and do it soon, she said, send me your first few chapters. And I said, you don't want to be bothered with that. Send them. So I sent off my first few chapters of my first novel back in 1998. They came back within a week all marked up. Change this name, it's a bit like that name. And throughout her life, she was hugely generous. Her only failing was her appalling handwriting. She was a great letter writer, but it took ages to decipher them.
Remembering Dame Jilly Cooper there. Still to come on tonight's programme, we speak to comedian Bernie Clifton as he embarks on his 90th year in show business.
And a man from Halifax, crowned the world's greatest Yorkshire pudding maker, shares his hints and tips. Now, I wonder, did you have a Saturday job growing up? Perhaps a paper round or sweeping up in the hairdressers, Sally?
I couldn't see you doing a paper round, Ian. I'm sure that wasn't you.
I used to mark up the papers in a newsagent's to send the paper boys and girls out with the papers.
In the warm and dry, not going out on your bike.
But it was very early in the morning.
Well, I worked in a florist, was my first job when I was about 15, and that was a nice job.
Oh, a nice job for you,
Putting flowers together, and
yeah,
that was nice. Well, fewer teenagers are taking up part-time weekend work, which is raising concerns that young people are missing out on early work experience.
The former Labour Minister, Alan Milburn, who's heading a government review into youth unemployment, says if action isn't taken, it will potentially be a lost generation. Kevin Ashford reports.
Sebastian Ranyard from Sheffield has a paper round. He says he hopes it'll help him when he's looking for full-time work.
For me, it's about work experience. So I knew that when I eventually leave college and get a job, the job market would be really competitive. So I thought that getting some work experience under my belt would really make me stand out and for employers and just show them how disciplined and hardworking I am.
However, the number of young people taking part-time jobs has been declining, and it's seen as part of a wider trend. In the UK, fewer than 1 in 5 16 to 17-year-olds are working, compared to half of them at the start of the century. There are almost 1 million young people aged 16 to 24 qualifying as NEET, that is, not in education, employment or training.
What are the more like the values, the company's values? What do they stand for? Do they align with my values?
The education charity that helped fund this IT skills bootcamp says part-time work at a young age can be a big help when looking for jobs in later life.
We know that often for young people, this is the kind of first step into the world of employment. We know that work experience is really crucial for young people, specifically, again, from disadvantaged backgrounds or, for example, from ethnic minority backgrounds. And so having that first step onto the employment ladder is really important. And with fewer kind of young people doing part-time jobs or Saturday jobs, we know that's kind of a door that's being closed for them.
The former Health Minister Alan Milburn's leading a government review into the number of young people who aren't economically active. He says it's a problem that can't be ignored.
We've got a huge problem in our country now of a potential lost generation. 1 in 8 young people who are not in education, employment and training. If they formed a city, that would be the 3rd biggest city in the country. And what we can't afford as a country is simply to write these people off. You know, if we write off that generation of young people, we're writing off our own country's future. We can't afford economically, socially, fiscally to have a lost generation.
Young people will be among those consulted for the review, which will publish an interim report in the spring. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
Well, this afternoon, Kevin spoke to Work and Pensions Secretary Pat McFadden at a careers fair targeting young workers.
We are coming forward with a youth guarantee to try to help more young people get training or work. We're changing the apprenticeship system, but we also want to go further, which is why I've asked Alan Milburn to do this report for me into the whole issue of young people inactivity in work.
An upgrade to a key commuter station in our region has been hailed a major step forward by accessibility campaigners. Mirfield Station in West Yorkshire now has 2 new platforms built to accommodate longer trains and a footbridge for step-free access. The work is part of the Trans-Pennine route upgrade, which could see fewer cancellations and more trains.
Honestly, compared to what it was, it's amazing. And obviously, for that right to that, and obviously, for us, this is a huge step in the right direction.
We're going to put 2 new fast lines around the station itself, and that helps us to improve journeys from Manchester through to Leeds and onto York. More capacity, faster journeys right the way through the area.
Thousands of motorists who regularly cross the Humber Bridge are preparing for changes in how they pay for the privilege. The familiar pay booths on the route between Hessle and Barton have been a feature for nearly 45 years, but technology is catching up to try to make the journey more efficient.
Customers will be able to drive through the Humber Bridge and they'll have the options to pay in many different ways on our new website and mobile app. You can pay in advance of the crossing, you can pay after your crossing as a guest crossing, or you are an account holder. Drivers will be able to drive across the bridge under the free flow gantry, and AMPI will capture your registration and you'll be able to go onto the website and obviously find your VRAN and make a payment on that.
And if you're still a bit confused about how the new system will work, you can read further details on our website. Just go to itv.com/calendar.
The ITV Evening News continues at 6:30 with more on the memorial service for Dame Jilly Cooper. Here's Charlene White.
Coming up, a man's jailed for life for the premeditated murder of hotel worker Rhiannon White. The Prime Minister's progress in China. Beijing agrees to lift sanctions on British MPs and peers. And remembering Dame Jilly Cooper, the Queen joins celebrities for a special memorial for the late author. So do join us for those stories and more from 6:30.
We will, Charlene. Thank you very much indeed. Well, next to an entertainment legend who's been making audiences laugh all his life. And it's been a long life.
Yes, he's in his 90th year with no plans to give up. He's preparing for a theatre performance in Penistone in March. And he's famous for having a boisterous bird called Oswald.
Here, ladies and gentlemen. Have you worked it out yet?
Yes, it's Bernie Clifton, of course, whose collaboration with a very boisterous bird landed him a spot at the Royal Variety Performance back in 1979 there, as well as regular appearances on Crackerjack. Well, we caught up with Bernie a little bit earlier to talk about his amazing career. Oh, 1979, and Bernie, here we are, 2026, and here you are.
Here I am. I can't believe it. I'm wearing my Yorkshire jacket, made in Barnsley.
It's lovely. Now, who's this?
This is Norman the donkey.
Of course he is.
Celebrating your 90th year, Bernie.
There's a similarity, the way we're both moving these days.
He's got the moves, that's for sure. And
But will he turn off?
You can't switch it off.
Oh, yeah. I'll put him down here for now. Brilliant. Happy birthday for this year, coming up in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, I'm at the Paramount in Penistone on March the 1st, and it's all part of my birthday tour.
Still performing at 90.
Still getting away with it, I think, is the phrase you're looking at, really.
There's an awful lot to look back on, isn't there? There's a lot to get in that show.
It's amazing, really, to have actually got to within striking distance of my 90th birthday is unbelievable. And I'm reminded every morning when I get up when my legs won't work. But no, it's a great story, and I'll put it all down onto a theatre presentation, which is why we're in Penistone on the 1st of March.
What about this building? Because you were a regular on 321 back in the day, weren't you, Bernie?
On what?
321.
How do you do? You can't do the.
I've tried that before and it didn't work.
I was a regular, yeah, with the Ted Rogers. I was part of the team, and it was with Linda Nolan, and it was just tremendous times. And you'd jump out the studio and you'd go in your car and you'd drive 100 miles and do a midnight cabaret somewhere, and then come back and do another day of 321. Great days. In fact, it was the people who made the props for Dusty Bin who actually made me a lightweight ostrich so I could start running the London Marathon. So in 1982, which is a long time ago.
Now you talk about the ostrich, that's the thing everyone remembers, however old you are. Where's the ostrich now?
Would you do that again?
Where's the ostrich now? You've got to do the movement.
Well, it was here in Leeds at the City Varieties 2 years ago. I'm standing in the wings on the back of the chicken thinking to myself, you know, your legs stopped working a year ago. Is it time that you retired him? And that was the last time that Oswald and I ever appeared together. But he's in a safe place.
Do you still get that adrenaline rush
Absolutely.
from that kind of thing?
It's based on fear, isn't it? Of course. when I look back, the whole premise, I think, and Eric Morecambe always said this, he said it's based on a certain fear of failure, and the fact that you're out there and people are expecting and you've got to do it. There's no better discipline, because there's no second chances. You go out and win them, and every moment is important.
Well, I think
Adrenaline.
You've nothing to fear in Penistone. I'm sure there'll be a very appreciative audience.
Penistone? Oh, there's a cinema there called the Paramount.
Is there really? You want to go?
Oh, yeah, I might go. Is it March the 1st? Yeah.
So I believe.
I'm glad you mentioned that, but I won't be doing the...
None of that.
Because I can't do it as well as you can.
Go on, do it again.
Bit of that.
It's a gift.
She's brilliant. Bernie, lovely to see you as always. Thanks ever so much for coming in to see us at Calendar.
Thanks for asking.
And many happy returns.
And you're very welcome to come to the Paramount in Penistone on the March the 1st.
Be there, we'll be there.
What a pro.
Bernie, thank you. Oh, fantastic to see Bernie.
Where did you say it was?
No, let's not go there again. Looking fantastic for 90 though, isn't he?
Amazing.
I mean, just incredible.
And he's been a mate of mine for years. It's great to see him.
Yeah, it was lovely. Great to have him in. OK, it's Friday, so it's that time of the day for some sport.
Powering local sport in the community. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Well, Leeds United will face one of their toughest tests of the campaign as they take on Arsenal tomorrow. The Whites, who are 16th in the table and 6 points clear of the relegation places, welcome the league leaders to Elland Road. Leeds have only lost twice at home this season, and head coach Daniel Farke says the home crowd have a big say in the outcome of the game.
Especially at home at Elland Road, we can deliver a performance and fight for points against each and every opponent in the world. And for that, yes, we will also go into this game with the necessary respect. And we know that we need probably an outstanding day to have a chance to win points against this outstanding Arsenal side. But we also know that we are capable to do this. And for that, we're also looking forward to have this game.
On to Rugby League, and it's just under 2 weeks until the York Knights make their Super League debut. The Knights face treble winners Hull KR on the opening weekend of the season in front of what will be a record attendance at the community stadium. They've been busy in the off-season, strengthening their squad with 14 new recruits. Head coach Mark Applegarth says the team has big ambitions.
We need to up our standards. We're confident that we'll all up our standards, and then we're confident again that as aspirations won't change. We want to do what we did in the Championship, long term in Super League. I don't see the point of being in this league if you don't have aspirations to win it long term.
In boxing, Doncaster's Josh Padley will look to become a European champion at the weekend. The electrician turned boxer will face off against Frenchman Joad Belmadi up in Newcastle for the vacant European belt in the featherweight division. Padley has won both of his fights since turning fully professional last year. Now, finally, you might not be aware that this Sunday is National Yorkshire Pudding Day, a day dedicated to the greatest of all Sunday roast accompaniments.
Absolutely. The world champion of this culinary craft is Chris Blackburn from Halifax. This morning, we visited his house and asked him to show off his skills for us to see and also have a taste.
And Chris, it's great to have you here in the studio with us now. And you've been kind enough to bring some in. So these are little beauties, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. These are picture perfect. We made them this morning with your reporter, and honestly, they couldn't have come out any better. I get a bit nervous when we have the cameras, but...
Oh, well, they're definitely performing for us today, aren't they? They're spot on. What's your secret? How do you make an award-winning Yorkshire?
There's two secrets. The first one is white pepper. It's a seasoning that's almost forgotten about now because we've gone with the trendy black pepper. So put that away, get your white pepper out. And then the other thing is this stuff here. This is liquid gold, effectively. This is beef dripping.
What?
And I would encourage you to stick your nose in there, because what that is just the smell of a roast beef dinner.
Do you know what it is? It is actually, isn't it? Yeah.
It's the smell of a roast beef dinner.
That's incredible.
And look, Yorkshire puddings are flour, eggs, milk. There's no flavour, so you've got to inject the flavour. That comes from the beef dripping and the white pepper, of course, as well as
water, is that a myth?
Well, no, absolutely. So sparkling water, what that does is it creates steam when they go in the oven, so that will help them rise. Now, I use milk because that gives a richer flavour, but some people use half-half, so they get that rise and it gives that steam in the oven.
There's nothing worse, though, is there, than an overcooked one, really hard and firm, or one that just goes...
Yeah, overcooked, it's just going to turn to dust, and you're right, undercooked, it's just going to flop, and it's going to be like a pancake, or one of them wraps that they serve an awful lot these days.
There's competition all over the world then, for this title that you have now got?
Admittedly, it ran over 10 years ago, and it's never run since, and I'm hoping it stays that way, because I get to keep the title, so
I see. Yeah, so that's how it works.
How do you manage to become an award winner then in this field?
Yeah, so it all started in 2010, down at the cookery school at Dean Clough. I turned up with a bag of ingredients. I'd been out in London the night before and had one too many drinks. So I was slightly hungover, but turned up with my bag of ingredients and won. And I didn't think much of it. And the Monday morning came and the phone went crazy. It was the newspapers and the radio that all wanted an interview with the world Yorkshire pudding champion, and it went from there.
Excellent. Well, look, you are an expert. There's no doubt about it. But we've been asking viewers, haven't we, what they think?
We have, and we've had some pictures in of their efforts. Let's see whether there's any award winners.
Yes. Well, first up, we've got Dawn Threlfall, who says she always adds a dash of cold water to the mixture. Would you agree?
That's that steam we were talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the steam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks to Christina Hicks for sending in her effort. So that's one giant one, I think. That looks very
huge.
You could fill that up, couldn't you, nicely?
Craig Bentley also got plenty of height on his Yorkshire.
Very nice, nicely done. And finally, what do you think of this? Kerry Booth sent us this slightly different offering. Yes, I've heard of these sweet Yorkshires. What do you think of those?
So many years ago, I filmed with Mary Berry. It was an incredible experience. We filmed at the Fleece at Barkisland, and we did a rhubarb and custard Yorkshire pudding, which was rhubarb compote, creme pâtissière. We put a crumble on the top with popping candy and creme anglaise, and it was superb. Mary ate 3.
That sounds incredible. I think I could probably do 3 of those.
What would you say, though, to people perhaps like me who think it's just easy, just pop to the supermarket, put your hand in the freezer, and get those ones that are ready-made and just shove them in.
We've all had those.
Well, there's a statistic that was created by the Royal Society of Chemistry that said a Yorkshire pudding is not a Yorkshire pudding if it's less than 4 inches tall. So in answer, I would say get your tape measure out and just check how big they are, and are they actually Yorkshire puddings that are being sold? Who knows?
I've not seen many frozen ones that would meet that criteria, I'll be honest.
No, true. But I mean, it's just such a, obviously Yorkshire pudding is such a Yorkshire thing, but it's so popular all over the country.
Yeah, my award-winning recipe is on my website, yorkshirepud.co.uk, and I'm really lucky that I get pictures sent to me every single week from around the world, Canada, China, the US specifically. So we've spread the word. We've got the website, we spread the word, and we're spreading the joy of Yorkshire.
And what would you not put in a Yorkshire pudding?
I can't think of much, to
They're
be
very
perfectly
versatile,
honest.
aren't they? Very versatile.
A curry, a chilli.
Yeah.
I mean, and the great thing, and not a lot of people realise this, is that I make them and freeze them. Put them in the freezer so that when you are having a curry or a chilli,
that's the way to have frozen puds. Homemade and frozen, not bought frozen.
Stay with us, because we'll come back to you after we've had the weather forecast from Nick Miller.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello, wet and cold start this morning. Not just rain, some snow around even to modest high ground. A lot of that, though, has since melted. And on the coast, Tracy said it felt like a beast from the east. There certainly has been and is a significant wind chill. This is what went through to start the day. Since then, it has been turning a little bit drier. Notice down towards the southwest, we have this, a new area of low pressure. This. It's coming in for the weekend, though it is weakening as it reaches towards us, and it just basically reinforces the cloudy and occasionally wet theme on through this weekend as we go into a new month. And it's a low cloud still, it's misty, it's foggy, and here comes the next area of rainfall spilling up from the south during the night. There are gaps in this, but it will make for a damp second half of the night and start to the day tomorrow. Temperatures not falling too far from where they've been today, still blowy along the coast. Your sunrise tomorrow, so that's at 5 to 8, and your sunset for Saturday is at 4 to 5. Let's take you on then through the day. We'll keep the cloud. Now, it may be for a time later in the morning that there are going to be a few breaks in the cloud. They are more likely the further east you're watching, but for most of us, we'll keep the cloud, and further outbreaks of rain will move in during the afternoon. The wind, though, is going to be easing, and temperatures are a little bit higher, 8 or 9 degrees Celsius. And then as we go through Saturday night into Sunday, still some showery bursts of rain around, but again on Sunday, ahead of this weather front out towards the west, there may be a few glimmers of brightness, but that's all we can expect. Into next week, expect cloud, rain at times again, and the wind will pick up once more, so it's likely to feel colder again.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
All this talk of Yorkshire puddings and so on is making me hungry.
You'll be having one tonight then when you get home,
I wouldn't mind, wouldn't say no.
That's all right. And Chris, are you having one tonight?
Sunday.
Oh, traditionally.
Of course, with a bit of roast beef.
That's
actually.
it. Well,
Thanks
that's
for
it
coming
from
in.
us. Adam's back at 10:30. Charlene's next. Bye-bye from us.
Have a great weekend. Good night.